My nickname is the Linspiration. Despite being physically, sexually, and mentally abused from the time I was 3 until I was 19, I have overcome the insurmountable odds that were stacked against me. This story is not about the years of abuse I endured. Y'all aren't ready for those stories yet. The story I must tell is about perseverance through a time when I was very much alone dealing with 2 complicated surgeries. I was able to find that in the face of adversity, there's always an opportunity to turn things around. Looking at any given situation in a different way will help with managing the craziness of the world. My mission is to share that even though I haven't completely healed, I have a beautiful life and it's possible for you too. The metaphor that resonates most is that I grew up under a mountain. I tried so many times in different ways to get over that mountain, but could never get there. It seemed like I would make headway and then something would happen. I'd lose my footing and would slide back down. But when you're alone at the bottom of a mountain or in your own home after an extensive surgery, you get to decide how to be. And I decided that with no other options, I had to persevere. I had to see if I could tunnel through it. There have been countless miles and many years that have gone into this excavation, and I wouldn't want to change any of it. It has been worth the process because I'm finally at the end of the tunnel. The sunshine has just broken through, and a big celebration is on its way. I was able to persevere through that tunnel because I kept adding more and more tools to my toolbox, and I allowed myself to be vulnerable and let others in. We never make it anywhere alone. In May of 2009, I had a weird pain in my back. My primary care doc ordered a CAT scan to see what the pain was from. She originally thought it was kidney stones. When we got the results, it wasn't even close to what it was. It was an adenoma, a benign tumor on my liver. These tricky tumors are ticking time bombs. They are benign until they aren't, and there is no way of knowing when it will metastasize. On January 26, 2010, I went under the knife at 2:30 p.m. The surgeons couldn't find where the tumor was and needed to wait a long time for the ultrasound people to come. The surgical team ended up rummaging through my insides for 6.5 hours. They finally got things taken care of, stapled me up, and sent me to recovery. My poor mom was told the procedure would last 2 hours at most. As I was waking up, I could hear someone say several times, "Lindsay, you gotta breathe for me." I remember thinking to myself, I am breathing. I didn't understand what was happening, but each time I remember taking an almost dramatically deep breath and then falling back asleep until the next time they told me to breathe. The anesthesiologist put the epidural in, so why was I in the most excruciating pain of my life? Well, it wasn't put in properly, and everything on my left side was numb. However, the problem was that the incision is on my right side. So the little I should have felt was amplified by 1,000%. To make matters worse, an intern opened me up, and I'm pretty sure he did not study my case because he cut me as if I was having a transplant. Well, yes, I was working with a transplant team. I was not having a transplant. My scar is now 20 inches long compared to the at most 7-inch long scar I was supposed to have. After being in recovery, I was stable enough to go upstairs to what was to be my home for the next 7 days. I don't remember much other than writhing in pain. They gave me IV Dilaudid. If you don't know what that is, it's basically medical heroin. Help with the pain, thank goodness, except when I was alone and fell asleep. I wasn't able to press the button to release more medicine. That part really sucked. At the end of the 7 day stay at the luxurious hospital, the same intern removed the drainage tube. He should never have done that because over the next 15 days, a hematoma morphed into a nasty infection, placing me on the waiting list to have another major surgery the next day. No pun intended, but to add salt to the wound, I was allergic to the staples. So when they cut 16 out of the 20 inches, they were unable to staple me back up. They ended up having to pack the open wound with this foam type material and then covered it with Tegaderm, which is a medical grade plastic wrap. After 5 more days at the hospital, I was released. However, this time I had a new friend in tow. His name was Henry, and he was a vacuum that was suctioning out all the bad stuff from my wound. I had a hard time with Henry because I'd never had anything attached to me like this before. I can't tell you how many times I ended up yanking the tube when I got up to use the bathroom because I forgot to bring Henry with me. Well, it's a funny story now. It was not so much back then. Insurance covered only 30 minutes a week, or 30 minutes twice a week, with a visiting nurse to change the dressing for Henry once I was home. I had to take the bandage off and wash the wound myself. I should mention that the wound was over 2 inches deep at that point, and I normally have a strong stomach. However, sticking my hand into the wound was terrible. I was worried that I would pass out in the shower and left the front door unlocked for my neighbor. After the 2 weeks with Henry, it was time to say goodbye. The next part of the recovery was difficult because they had a tough time getting the wound to close since it was so deep. They had to cauterize the wound on 9 separate occasions. I'm grateful they were able to do a pretty good job considering the lip it could have had. It took another 2 hospital stays with infections to be able to return to life as it was before. However, I was not the same person, and very gratefully so. I'm going to go back to June 25th, 2009 for a moment. Part of my growing up under a mountain was that I was rarely allowed to listen to music, so when Michael Jackson died that day, I'd not really heard his songs before. The one song that spoke to me in a way that I never thought something like that could do for me was The Man in the Mirror. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And no message could have been any clearer. If they want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. The reason that became my favorite song is because I finally got it, and everything started to make sense. I was the one who had to make changes. No one could do it for me. Even though I'd been through a lot of traumas, I needed to stop blaming other people for my problems. It was time to take everything that was swept under the rug for generations and carefully take the time to find out what was dust and garbage versus the treasures that lay forgotten and ready to uncover. I am so grateful that I was able to have that time alone to not only heal my body, but begin the greatest accomplishment that I have achieved to date. And that is that I truly love myself, trust my gut completely, and know that I'm worthy of great things. I put the time in to care for, or I have put in the time to carefully clean each of those treasures that I have found under that rug. And for my own trauma, I was able to pull it all out, reorganize everything, and use it to help others heal from their trauma. Welcome to the age of the Linspiration where trauma doesn't hold you back. You too can use your experiences to propel yourself forward towards setting yourself up for success, which in turn helps give you life or helps give life the peace and fulfillment you can achieve. Heck yeah. I've been through a lot and you've been through a lot, but there's so much we can do to get through this. So stick with me. Come subscribe. Come find what else I've got up my sleeve because it's way simpler than you think. And a big part of that is actually having fun. Because when's the last time you really enjoyed life? And the best part is it's free the way that I do. I love you so much. We're going to get through this.